Hi, Herschel Wilson here. I am the co-founder and CEO of the Painting Panda Pottery Studio here in Tacoma, Washington, over in the Dome District, and more specifically in Freight House Square, space number 63. And I want to definitely tell you that one of the great changes that have happened recently is that the Painting Panda Pottery Studio now has its own kilns. You may not have known this, but we actually had to team up with a different studio in order to fire our pieces. So every piece that's ever been created for the past 2.5 years, we had to take over to another studio called Spun Tacoma for them to fire it for us. And the reason for that is because of our location. Freight House Square is a very old historic building, and the floor support would not have actually been good for us to actually fire in studio. So we needed a different space that would be much more accommodating and also be able to handle the requirements for a kiln. And so the bottom space below has an area where we are operating our kilns. And so it's been amazing. So now we have a concrete floor, we have all of the proper wiring setups for us to fire kilns. And so we went from having no kilns to having two kilns. We have a small one and a big one, and they're called Biggie Smalls. So the big one's called Biggie, the smaller one's called Smalls, and they have been working great. We did a couple of test fires for the for Smalls, worked very well. We went up to Seattle to get Smalls from a lady who was no longer in pottery any longer, and so she was retiring from that. And so we purchased it, picked it up, brought it down here to our studio, did a little bit of maintenance on it. And so after I did all of that and made sure everything was good to go, we did some test firing. Noelle, who's always in the studio, actually went down there, put in some pieces of stuff that we've actually made on our own, and it fired up perfectly. It did what it was supposed to do, and the repairs I made were great. I mean, they luckily they turned out great. So that's been great. The much bigger kiln is the one that we were like, we're not sure about because it requires venting and different things. And so just the other day, we also fired it up for a test fire, and it did well also. There's some calibration that needs to be done to make sure it's optimal, and then we will put customer pieces in there. One of the things that we like to do is test the kiln out several times before we put customer pieces in there. So for right now, we'll be relying heavily on Smalls, and we have been, and we will soon move over to Biggie, which will be able to handle a large volume at a time. So it's been really fascinating and amazing. Thank you so much for people who visit the Painting Panda Pottery Studio. Without you guys, this would not be possible. And with that said, behind me, you can see all these molds that we have. So we've been pouring molds for the last few months. We've been gearing up for Christmas. So there's a lot of new things that are going to be on the shelves. Noelle has bought probably well over 200 different molds. And so we are always finding new pieces that are going to be unique and that we can put out on the floor. So we're going to have a revolving floor. Basically, a lot of the shows, things that you normally have seen, you're going to start seeing some of those things get cycled out. And we're going to be bringing in new different pieces that are unique, some of which we've poured. There's no question that COVID has really created a lot of havoc. So a lot of the supply lines and supply chains have been altered. So we're not able to get a lot of the things in that we were able to get in before. So we actually kind of lucked into the situation of getting more molds. And so as a result, we've been pouring quite a bit, and those have been on the shelves for a few months. And so it's been going pretty well. The fact that we now have our own kilns, we can fire there on site the pieces. They'll be ready to hit the floor, and then when you guys paint them, we'll fire it again there on site, and it's a very fast turnaround period. So it's been amazing. Now, I will say one of the things that's really exciting for me is Halloween. It's one of the season holidays that I really do love, and it's coming upon us. And so we have a lot of different pieces for you guys to choose from. from the ghost on the fence, which is probably one of my favorites. We even have a big giant ghost about this tall. He's huge. And he has a face on both sides of him. That's amazing. We have a lot of pumpkins that we are creating. There's the witch and the scarecrow. So we have a lot of different things that we've been pouring and making recently that will actually go onto the floor. They're actually out there now. We also have the favorites, the spiders and things like that. We even have a Halloween plate that you can actually hang up and decorate however you want. It says Happy Halloween and all of that. It's amazing. So there's a lot of changes that have happened recently, and I just wanted to let you guys know about them and say thank you for all of the dedication and love of our studio. We really do appreciate it. We're honored to have everyone come through our doors, and we always want to greet you with a smile. Thank you so much again, and please do stop in. Ask about our holiday section, which we do have currently right now. It's going to be stocked with a lot of Halloween stuff. But once Halloween is over, we will cycle that out and we will switch to the next holiday. So we'll see you next time at the Painting Panda Pottery Studio.